An internal war rages in me. A war in which one side wants to remember, but gets threatened from danger to get destroyed, into the other side, which wants to forget.
I had 3 brothers, Charlo Shaptai, Avraham Alberto, and Yosale Pepo. Even though we grew up in the same house, we were very different. Charlo Shaptai was the family musician. Even back in high school, he played the violin and accordion very well. I sang very well, and my mother promised to buy me a piano, a promise she did not have any opportunity to hold. As the oldest son, Charlo had the biggest attention and respect from our parents. I played petkamen with my younger brothers, and I felt older every time Charlo tried to gently speak to me.
In 1942, the Bulgarian army invaded Macedonia as a part of the deal that they signed with the German. Our lives completely changed. The Jewish students were not allowed to study or go to school. I was very hurt and concerned because of this new law. Because I had high ambitions to go to school. The only thing that made me feel safe was my family. By making me feel safe and giving me love and heat, we were forced to wear yellow badges. Many people were arrested and put into jail for false accusations. The decrees and orders grew up from day to day. The Jewish were allowed to go out only in particular hours, while wearing the yellow badges and clothes. Later, we heard on the radio that we are not allowed to listen and play music. My brother Charlo was forced to give the accordion to a friend who was not Jewish.
Leon Ishak was locally contacted for a plan for a temporary deportation for the Jewish, which will happen in 12 hours. That's how the group of 9 young people, including me and my brother, was formed. The leader of the group was Samuel GITA Kalderon. We asked our parents for permission and they allowed us with a hard heart. The 10th of March was the night of our escape, a cold, foggy evening in the middle of the preparations of the Purim holiday. The miracle of Purim did not happen to us. Instead of sending the usual Mishloach Manot to friends and family, our parents were forced to send their children in order to save their lives. The parents prepared our backpacks with boots and warm clothes and sent us off. It was far from necessary to cross some water rapids, so if you didn't know how to swim, it was impossible to cross them.
The smuggler made a mistake, and we had been taken to the hands of a Bulgarian soldier who wanted to arrest us and immediately take us in his headquarters. The smuggler offered him Tito. We gave him everything we had in our pockets, and in return he let us follow our road. We crawled under the border between Yugoslavia and Greece. After 24 hours of walking and crawling, we were soaked, malnourished, and exhausted.
Even with a dose of concern, while the Italian dominated in Greece, we managed to balance almost a good routine for living. The situation changed with the fall of the Italian leader Mussolini. The German immediately took control of the regions in which the Italian dominated at that time. We got very scared.
The night on the 23rd of March, 1944, 2 weeks after Purim, while the festive smell could be scented, I noticed a heavy traffic of warm vehicles. We could smell that the Germans were up to do something. You don't know how much I wanted to stop everything that was coming. I wanted to save my cute morning pictures, but terror and horror slowly fell on us. My Uncle Meir left for work like every single morning, but sadness and darkness filled up the house. It was the last time I saw my room. the little one that not long ago became my room. "This will be only your room," my Auntie Ernesta said a few days ago. I saw her preparing backpacks with necessary clothes for the children. This was the second time I was made to leave a home. The one thing I have the whole life, the same as thousands of people who had to leave their homes where they used to live for years, lots of years. We were walking with the backpacks on our shoulders, close to each other. I walked with everyone, with my deceased brother Charlo and my beautiful cousins Lydia and Victoria. Even today, when the Purim holiday comes, I still feel sad. I connected with the deportation and loss, the loss of my family in Bitola and the one that adopted me in Kostur.
Killed and punched like dogs, the older woman and children were caught in the trap that had been set up by the German. The other day, we were taken to Thessaloniki by trucks. The 23rd of April, 1944 was a cold winter day. We were thrown out from our homes, physically and mentally abused from the German. Every single one of us had taken his place in the truck with a clothed roof that was put to hide the people underneath it. Curled up in the truck, we passed through lots of villages and towns. Lost, without any food and water, and extremely tired, we arrived in Thessaloniki. That was a camp surrounded by a fence made out of a barbed wire. We were sent inside when the doors from barbed wire closed, and we ended up being surrounded by armed guards.
April, start of the spring. It's like the nature felt our pain and our situation. Black clouds appeared in the sky, and it was a very cold day. We were told to leave Thessaloniki. We were walking with our backpacks on our shoulders. I looked around sadly. We were all dressed in rags, without any denying with the short amount of power we had inside us. We were all going to the train while the dogs were barking around us. We choked, we were sweating without any air. The only thing that looked like a window was a little hole covered with a barbed wire. I saw Aunt Ernesta and Uncle Mira with their adorable daughters. In one corner, I saw my brother Charlo. I tried to survive the situation while thoughts about the other members of the family, such as my parents and my brothers, were born in my head. And with just the thought of them, my eyes became watery. But I knew I had to be strong. We suffered in an endless torture which was becoming more and more worse as the days passed. On April 11th, the doors opened. We made it to Auschwitz. We asked ourselves, is this going to be our last station?
The kids were taken from their parents and wives from their husbands without any mercy. In order to stay calm, I was saying to myself, you have to remain alive so you can revenge. They want us dead. They took us our families. The only way I could help myself was to keep measuring. To live, to live, to live for my family, to live so I can tell the world everything.
We were tortured all the time. We were fed worse than animals. There were lots of wounded, and sometimes someone from SS ship would kill someone just to scare us. Even with just the listening of the orders, I was terrified and angry. But I had to survive because I wanted to remain alive and get out of there someday.
As a result of the amount of the beat, I survived the worst living conditions. I lost weight drastically. My body was tired and I got sick from typhus. I was sent in the quart for sick. That was in a different building. Those days my life was hanging on the edge of a line, without any water and medicine. My body was burning. I was shivering and I dreamt my mother who was begging me to stay alive. After the releasement, I found out that my brother Charlo was prisoner in the camp of the death in Bergen-Belsen. From Dora, my mate in the camp that reminded after I was transported in Venusberg, I heard that he became skinnier because of the starving. 2 days after the releasement from the British soldiers, she found him barely alive. His starved body couldn't handle with the amount of food he immediately got from the releasers. Dora saw him dying on the edge of the freedom.
We were treated like a livestock. We didn't even feel like humans anymore. After 15 days, we were close to Austria. We were released from the locked wagons and were made to walk without any food and water. I tried peeling a potato peel that I hid in my pocket. We were walking slowly. Even our bodyguards stopped taking care of us and allowed us to walk how we want. Suddenly, an American airplane appeared above us and we heard gunshots. From the 1,000 women we were, only 30 survived. I couldn't feel my legs and I was barely walking. We were left to lay in front of the doors of the closed crematory that had stopped working.
We were released on the 2nd of May, 1945. Not too far away from us, we noticed a group of German soldiers holding a white flag. I thought that I am hallucinating and I couldn't believe my eyes. On the 1st of July, 1945, I was on the train that was returning the survivors in Yugoslavia. As soon as the train left Germany, I promised myself that I'm not returning on this territory again. We were very well welcomed in Czechoslovakia. The next morning, the train stopped in Belgrade, the capital city of Yugoslavia. I knew this station from other times and I was very sad when I saw it destroyed. No one welcomed me. I was very happy when the train stopped in Bitola on the 16th of July, 1945, but there was no one at the station for me.
On my way to the city center, I didn't see any familiar face. I wasn't sure what to do or where should I go. One day I found the courage to go and see what happened to our beautiful house, from which my family was thrown out. When I entered the yard, I see a big mess. The flowers we used to take care of could be nowhere found. Everything looked so sad. I felt sharp pain in my heart and I was overflooded with memories. If only I could see the picture of my happy family again. I was looking for them, calling them deep inside my soul, but there was no answer. The items which we had been drying our clothes on were hanging empty and alone. The walls were destroyed by the people who entered the house looking for hidden treasure. With a broken heart, I climbed on a tree and I asked myself and God, why? Why were we so punished for that kind of deadly and frightening sufferings? Is it possible that one race could do so many crimes that deserve that kind of major extermination? I couldn't stop my tears falling down. I was crying for my murdered family, for the friends and relatives that were not there anymore. I couldn't get used to the non-Jewish Bitola.
One summer day, when I was 19 and a half years old, I married Simo. The wedding was humble, calm, typical Jewish wedding. Some friends that had become our new family came into our house and we were witness of that emotional occasions. Two people that had returned from hell, that wanted to live, started a common path that meant a new life. If only I hadn't stopped studying. If the war hadn't happened, I would have been still studying.
I wrote what I wanted, without an intention to bother you. A huge mental tension was required from me in order to write, because I had to relive through everything that had happened from me and from that disgusting period once again. I am not a writer. I do not write perfect without any doubt. My only goal was that my children and grandchildren would not forget what had happened to us by the Amaleks. Today, I am so happy and satisfied with the family that I grew and that I have the ability to have a better life, to see the world that renews once again. I would like to live the huge love that me, Simo, and my kids carry in us. My only wish is that my children will live better, full of friendship and love for each other. From the bottom of my heart, this is the only thing I'm asking for.